Hello there. We will get started shortly. In the meantime, take a comfortable seat and begin to just settle in, ground into self for a little bit here. Just taking a moment to tune in to where you are in this moment, beginning to calm the body so that we can quiet the mind. As we wait for those others to join us and for the clock to hit 11, just settle in. Get grounded, get quiet, tune in. All right, it's 11 o'clock. Close your eyes and settle in. Do a scan of your body and notice anywhere that you are holding, clenching, or tightening. See if you can let go. Whatever you can't let go of, just let be. Take a deep breath in through your nose to a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try that again. Breathe in to a count of 4. Exhale to a count of 8. Breathe in to a count of 4, relaxing into your heart. Exhale to a count of 8, slowly settling into your body, relaxing your entire body as you do. One more just like that. Inhale into your heart, relaxing into your heart. Exhale, relaxing into your body to a count of 8. And then releasing any control of your breath. Take a moment to set your intention for our time together today, holding that intention in your mind's eye. And then when you're ready, let it go. And opening your eyes and coming back to this place from wherever it is that you just went, and grab your workbook and write out all of your personal and professional wins from this last week. Writing out all of your personal and professional wins from the last week. I am going to set the timer for 5 minutes. Mm. All right, wrapping up where you are. Since we have a small group today, I would love to hear from each of you on just sharing a win or two from the past week. And I'm going to just start with Liz, if that's okay.
My biggest win is that we accepted an offer on the house last night and signed a contract, so that's really big. And to get there, we prepped last weekend for 2 open houses and 8 showings. So that's really all that I can comment on at this point. Thank you, but
That
we're
is a
excited.
lot, Liz. That's a lot. Thank you for sharing that. That was a big week. Um, all right, T.
I finished going through my physical files and uh, have a huge bunch to be shredded, and also got rid of a bunch, recycled a bunch. So I'm now done with that. Apparently, in 2020, I just stopped. So I have a bunch to file too, but it feels good to have that done.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sarah.
I went to Lara's The Way of Integrity talk. She had just like a little book hour, which was really sweet. And yeah, I don't know, just keeping up on things in the midst of all of the shifting summer schedule. Like everyone's at a different camp or staying with a relative or whatever every week, and but still feeling on top of it.
Thank you for sharing that. Lauren, how about you?
I have been on the hunt for finding a system for automating a lot of my tasks across a lot of different projects just to help me get some sanity and feel a little less burnout. And I found one that I think I really like, and I've been working on setting it up this week. So that has been like, oh, I don't know. I feel like I hear angels singing.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Saskia, how about you?
I just got back from 2.5 weeks in France, and I can't even tell you how good that felt. I've never left my husband and daughter alone for any extended period of time, and it was amazing. They did phenomenal, like best thing ever. So it was awesome. And I got to spend that time with my mom.
Mm.
So we were together that entire time. We did this unbelievable trip in the south of France, and I got to reconnect with the part of myself because I grew up there. So I got to really reconnect. I was dreaming in French. Like I got to really reconnect with the part of myself that I had long forgotten because it's been over 20 years since I've been back to France. So it was great. And I'm really glad to be back with all of you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, and we're glad to see you back. Heba, how about you?
The best highlight for last week was going to the seaside, spending night with my mom. That was really nice. So we just spent the day there. The weather was really nice. Of course, the water was so cold. But like everything else was like just so good. Spending quality time with her by ourselves without the kids was just great. So yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Jade.
I got a lot of decluttering and moving things around the house done.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Chandani, how about you?
Will I be sharing what we did last week?
A win from the previous week. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my win is similar to Jade's. I did unpacked a lot of boxes that were from Amazon, finally set them up, and did some cleaning and decluttering. So that was good.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And Leslie, I don't know if you can share or not, but if you have a win you want to share, you're welcome to. Yeah.
So for the past few months, I've been studying for an exam, and so I finally took them the past 2 weeks. There's 4 micro exams and passed all 4 and got the certification. So
Yay!
super excited. So now I can start working on some projects, additional projects at work. So hopefully I'm expanding what I can do, and you know. So
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, if you haven't already, do jot down your 3 most important things for the week ahead. And I know we are already to July 10th, but since last week was a holiday week and we didn't meet, I do want us to reflect on June. So you'll want to not just jot down your most important things for the week to come, you'll also want to just kind of flip back to page 85 and look back at June. Let's just do a little reflecting on the month in its totality. And you can flip back through, what did you do in June? Look at your calendar, look back. What did you do? Did you accomplish goals that you'd set out for yourself, or did you embody the intentions that you had set for that time? And then think about as we're coming into July, and firmly in July, I should really say, what are these most important goals for the month? And I see we have a typo on page 85 where it says, "What are your 3 biggest goals for March and why?" Cross that out and say July. And you can call them goals, you can call them intentions, but we're just going to take some time to really think through this. And once you're done with it, please let me know that you're done just by writing done in the chat box. Who needs more time? Okay, okay. All right. We'll take a little more time. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you guys just weren't putting done in the chat box or if you're still working on it. So June was a big month, is what you're trying to say to me. Okay, keep going. Okay, so I know some of you are finishing up. For those of you that are already done, I'd love to, after looking back on June, what stands out to you about June? I would love to hear kind of your reflection on the past month, for anyone who would like to share. Saskia.
For me, June was all about finishing up so many last minute homeschool projects and classes and tying all the loose ends for my daughter's homeschooling, our second year. And then we ended up spending actually a tremendous amount of time connecting with friends, which I'd forgotten until I'd looked back, which was really nice. I had done that, I think, just knowing that I was going to be away for a while, and also just some family gatherings, and just getting ready for this big trip. This was a really big trip, being gone for 2.5 weeks and being with my mom. So that was definitely the highlight of my June. Yeah, getting it all ready, getting ready for a trip. You know, I forget how much work it takes to get ready so that you can actually go. And for me, it felt like there was so much because I wanted to leave everything set for my daughter and my husband. And I did. And I just got back last night and I talked to them this morning and they were like, it went so smoothly because they knew like there's a system in place. So it worked.
Excellent, thank you. And forgive me 1 second. I think the cat made a noise that concerned me, so hang tight just a second.
See, Jade, it's not just your animals misbehaving.
It was not the cat, it was the mailman, which is why the noise concerned me because it wasn't what I thought it was. Sorry, guys. Okay, who else wants to share about their June reflections on the month?
I always tell myself this story that like the summer is going to be so, I don't know, relaxed and empty and free, and that never seems to be the case, but almost in a good way, like because summer gives us the freedom to do the things that we want to be doing, or even the kids get a chance to like explore things that they're actually interested in and things like that. So I don't know, we fill it up, but in a good way, you know, like doing the things that we love. So, but I still don't know why every year I go into it like, oh, we'll have nothing to do.
Because wouldn't that be great?
Love that, yeah. But anyways, so just reflecting on how full the month was, but full of goodness.
It's great. Thank you for sharing that. Who else? Who wants to share their reflections? T.
For me, June was a lot about, is it okay to be okay when so many of my friends are struggling with big, really rough stuff? And knowing it is, and yet, and letting myself have my very simple joys. I mean, June was a lot about very quiet happiness and small contentments and sweet joys, and life just sort of going along in a very sweet way, and supporting my friends, and my friends having really just fucking heartbreaking things happening. And just, just being devastated and in really rough places. And, getting off the phone with them and, or coming back from holding them or holding space from them and being in my very, very simple joys and being like, it's okay. I get to be happy. I get to be really happy with this. It's okay.
And
Which
you
is-
be there and hold them because of that, right? Like,
exactly, giving from the overflow,
Yeah. That's been on my mind so much of like how every one of us has different seasons of life, right? And there are some seasons that are just so much more even than other seasons, and how wonderful that is. And then there's seasons that are not wonderful, and there are seasons, but none of us get out of this experience of life with hopefully without experiencing both of those things, right? Because the heartbreaking hard stuff, while we would never choose that or wish that on anyone, it does put it into perspective how wonderful it is when things are okay, and when we are able to give from that place, or show up in life from that place of okay, and or good even, or wonderful even. And there the feelings like, oh, should I feel guilty, or should I, like, that's tough stuff to work through, but that's should, and it's not, we get to define those parameters for ourselves. So thank you for sharing that. Who else wants to share their reflections about June? Jade.
So for me, this month was really about, or I should say June was about radical acceptance. And what was interesting is feeling certain ways and then going back to my journal and seeing some of these things repeating and realizing, oh, this isn't like, I don't need to feel bad about this. This is actually part of my process. And you talk about seasons, like I really go through the seasons of like indulging, so consumption versus creation, which leads to creation, and then the cycle repeats. But I feel bad, like when I'm sitting there reading 3 books in a week or binge watching, and I feel bad, like you shouldn't be doing this. You should be writing, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And then I look back at my journal entries and see like 3 years ago, I was saying the exact same thing. And then 2 weeks later, after that journal entry was like, oh my God, I unlocked this thing and now I'm going to write this whole novel. So it's just part of the process, and realizing that it's part of the process and not being so hard on myself about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Being able to look back at what we've written is really powerful. My friend who was staying with me this past week, she is a counselor, and she's one of those counselor therapists who, walks the walk, right? She does her own work. And she was telling me about how one of the things she started doing with her journaling is after she journals, she'll go through and cross out any people or situations. I think there's one more thing she crosses out. So, but like, so all she's left with is her on the page, right? So she writes out whatever she needs to write out. And then if she's talking about a person, well, it's not about the person. It's not about the situation. What's left is the feeling. What's left is that true self. And that's the power of being able to write down, like to, and look back and go back. And there's so many things like, yeah, we can look back and see, oh, what was our process or what was that thing, or don't judge ourselves for where we are. And we can also look and say, well, who, when I strip everything else away, who am I? How do I react? How do I show up? What are the feelings that I have? So what you said reminded me a little bit of that too. It wasn't exactly on point, but loosely related. All right, who else? June, what came up for you in June? Yeah, Liz.
I think June was like riding just a really big, long wave. All lots of good stuff, but we had a high school graduation. We had my husband and Lauren both had big milestone birthdays. We had grad parties. We had house stuff. So it just feels like it just was a constant flow. All good stuff, but just no resting on the beach. It was just, it's been just one big wave. So and all, like I said, all good, just a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Who else? Lauren, you want to share anything about June?
I looked back and I don't have like anything written down from the month of June. And I was thinking about, okay, so why is that? And the month was really interesting. The first 2 weeks were just spent like every day on a big work project abroad that just didn't really lend itself any time, but fully committing to that. And then when I got back, it was kind of nice because I think for the first time I kind of gave myself permission to actually rest and recover. And as an entrepreneur, as you know, and then also living with your husband who's an entrepreneur, it both people being willing to take a minute and being okay with being at rest and at peace is really, really nice. So it was kind of two sides of the same coin, I guess, but very different parts of the experience that month.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I don't have a lot on down for the last 2 months either. And it's not like me, and I'm not in a situation of life that is like me in any ways, really. And it's when you can look back and see that in black and white, it's interesting, right? But I love the reflection that you're sharing, that what it's reflecting to you is you gave yourself rest. And part of mine too is there's been a lot of rest, a lot of being and not doing. And what that is personally, what that is bringing up for me is a lot of leaning into trust in the universe, trust in myself, trust, faith in what's next. And if I'm being really honest with me, so much has gotten done. So even despite the not reflecting or being as maybe intentional on paper as I normally am, there's still a lot of intention and there's still a lot happening. And I just have to look a little bit more closely to find it. So if anyone else is like Lauren or like me right now, where you're not seeing that there's a lot written down, or maybe you didn't write anything down, which is fine, being able to look back and say, well, between the lines, what did happen? And I can say personally, like I slowed down a lot. And so what that meant is, well, first of all, I'm changing, I'm evolving, I'm growing, and who I'm becoming is very different from who I've been. And I can see that in that evolution. And it's beautiful when we have a practice like this, that we can put that on paper and we can see it in such a black and white kind of way. But if you didn't put a lot down, don't beat yourself up for it. Just look a little bit more closely. And maybe not at what you wrote down or didn't write down, but think about your calendar. Look more closely at all you've accomplished and all you've gained and all you learned. Because what I find is there are so many lessons in those places where we're not just tracking the doing. And the lessons are probably more profound than the doing. Okay, any other reflections, thoughts here? Anybody want to say anything that didn't? Or if that sparked something that you want to say? Okay, what I would love for us to do today, then I want you to take a minute and I want you to just write down where are you finding challenges right now? What in your life is bringing challenges to the surface for you? And try not to think too hard about this. Just like, what are the first few challenges that kind of come to mind? They don't have to be huge, although they can be big or little. What are the challenges that come to mind? And who feels comfortable sharing what is coming to mind? Challenges. Yeah, Liz.
I think for me right now, we've got a household with everybody on very high emotions and little patience. And so trying not to react to one another. You know, we've got this major move. My husband starts a new job. My daughter's going off to college and moving, you know, before she does that. So I think part of it is just all trying to have patience with each other and bring it down because we're all here. And that's not a good place for communication. We're not showing up as our best selves. So that's a challenge for us right now.
Okay. Do you think there's any limiting beliefs around those challenges?
Can you ask me that in another way?
Yeah, I can. So, like, what beliefs are contributing to the situation and to the high emotions? Like, are there like there's a lot going on. This is hard, or like what's the story that's running in the background about right now?
I think it's just it's just the sheer volume of, I don't feel like we haven't had enough time to make space to sort of, I'm trying to be intentional about that, but part of it's just, there's just a lot. So I think that's part of it. There's just a lot. Everybody's on high alert.
Okay. I have thoughts.
And I'm probably also trying to manage everybody else, which I know I can't do, but I still try.
Okay, so that might be the thing, right? Like that might be the thing.
Yeah,
So
probably.
You all just wrote down like what your challenges are right now, and I want anybody else have one that they can share? Current challenge. We all have challenges, guys. Come on. Jade, okay.
All right. So I am getting ready to, okay, this is gonna probably actually be a really deep one.
Okay, go for it.
I'm getting ready to publish my first writing fiction to heal novel. And I keep resisting doing the, like, it's done, but I keep like putting it into 11 labs to like listen to it and find the errors. I keep going through same chapters and looking for errors. And then when I find them, being like, do I leave it? Do I change it? Do I keep going? Like there's something mental that is keeping me from, because it's there, it's ready to go. I've published 20 books at this point. I know how it goes, but and I keep changing the release date. Like, oh, I'll release it on this day. No, I'll push it to August. And really what I think is coming out is that there's a friction between knowing that the story is done, like I did what I needed to do with it. And also knowing that I can't keep messing with it, that it's not perfect. There's gonna be holes, and the holes are part for this story in particular are part of the process of healing, because I didn't write it to publish. I wrote it to heal.
And you wrote that in the beginning, I'm sure, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. But there's a fear there that if I publish this in the normal ways, and by normal I mean like put it on Amazon, put it, have it available for sale, that I'm going to get comments like, this is poorly edited, this doesn't make any sense, there's plot holes, like what was the point of this? Because it's not a story, it's not a traditional novel like that. So I'm having a hard time figuring out what limiting belief or what's keeping me from pushing publish, or how do I do it and scared anyway.
Okay. So the challenge is that you keep finding things to resist. You're resisting publishing, even though you know it's done. What do you think that those limiting beliefs around this are? Like, if you could just name off the top of your head, like what is an underlying belief about this? Like what I heard, so you can drop something else in there if this isn't it. But what I'm hearing is fear that other people, I'm going to be criticized for this because it's not a normal novel. Like that's a big one. Would that be right? Can you think of any others?
I mean, the good enough, that it's not going to be good enough, which
Okay.
means I'm not good enough. The fear of, I mean, it's fiction, but it's the most personal up until now thing that I've ever written. And I'm like, there's a lot about my dad in there. And so I think, and I've talked about the book a lot, like in my Writing Fiction to Heal. So anyone who knows me knows that even though the book is fiction, it's about my abuse. And that is really like, there's a lot of me that wants to be like, well, and I wrote this part because no one was listening to me. But you can't do that in a fiction novel. I mean, you can, but I'm not going to. I'm not trying to explain myself.
Okay. This is okay. So I want you to write all of the limiting beliefs that you feel around the challenge. So all of you, whatever your challenge is right now. And is this making sense, what I'm saying, of like the challenge, and then what's the limiting belief around the challenge? And if anyone's having a hard time coming up with a limiting belief around their challenge, just raise your hand. We'll talk through it. Okay, did you all get them out? Okay. So I want you to look at the challenge. I want you to look at the limiting belief, and I want you to ask yourself, how do you want to feel about this instead? How do you want to feel about this instead? And I want you to write it out. So Jada, I'm going to use yours as an example. So instead of feeling fear, and I'm making this up, you can feel whatever you want to feel or about the situation, but instead of feeling fear, like you wouldn't say instead of feeling fear, you'd say, I feel content in knowing that this is enough. I know that putting my work in the world is more important than my fear. So things like that. Liz, thinking about what your example that you shared with us, the overwhelm and the lack of time. It could be something around I feel I want to feel more spaciousness, where I am able to slow down. I know it's not my job to manage everyone's experience of this situation, like things like that.
Right.
Anyone having trouble with this? Okay. Someone who hasn't shared yet, I'm curious, what was your challenge? What was the limiting belief? And what did you write down as what you want to experience instead? Can someone be brave and share?
So my challenge was feeling that friction between like feeling like I don't have time to connect with the people that are important to me. So like feeling too busy and things like that. And the limiting belief around that is that I'm like helpless about the situation, right? Like this is being done to me and I can't help it. And we just have like a lot of people in our family. And how I want to feel instead is that I am the creator of my life and I can create space to prioritize my values. Like, what are the things that I'm doing that are not in alignment with my values so that those can go away so that we do have the space for the other things.
Yes. Yes. That's a great example. So what's an action step you want to take around that?
I guess sort of examining that a little bit, like where am I spending this time or what are the things that I'm doing? I think a lot of times for me, and maybe this is like a separate limiting belief, but a lot of times it falls into those like the shoulds, right? Like, well, I should be whatever, keeping up on the lawn. I don't know. I'm just sort of making that, but I should be keeping up on the lawn. So I'm going to spend every night this week after work doing different yard work things, but I don't really give a shit about what the lawn looks like. Like that's not actually important to me. And I could be spending that time doing, one-on-one time with the kids or something like that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. All right, who else has one that they would like to share? Do Liz or Jade want to share the rest of how you want to feel instead?
Well, I've kind of took cue for you. I feel confident in knowing the work that I'm putting out is enough.
Okay, and what's the action step then around that?
Just fucking do it.
Does that mean you're going to put a by when date on the calendar?
Yeah. Yes. August 13th.
How does that feel in your body when you say that?
It feels good. That's the day I published my very first novel ever, so
Okay,
it feels like a circling moment.
great. Great. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? T.
You'll totally explain why I didn't want to go when I tell you what it is. So I'm struggling with low blood pressure. So and also I had a PTSD recall. So my brain has sort of bubble wrapped itself, so it's not functioning very well. So the result of those two things is I'm not wanting to leave the condo and not really wanting to even I haven't been doing much even in the condo. And the belief is I should want to go out. I don't have a job. I should want to go out. I should want to like I should enjoy not having a job. I should want to go out. I should be adventuring. I should be going to cafes and stuff. And so instead, I wrote, I trust my internal safety systems. I know when to explore and when to lean into comfort. Because it's true, it doesn't make sense when I mean, I literally put the salt shaker out every day next to the see, this is my brain doesn't work right now, next to the kettle, the electric kettle, so that if I'm really feeling in the morning like whoo, and especially my left nail is blue, my thumbnail, I'll just like pour a bunch of salt in my hand and lick it, which is disgusting. So my blood pressure will come up. So I'm like, it just doesn't feel like the time when I should be driving alone, especially given that I have to have anticoagulated blood. So my blood is thinner than most. So anyway, but I always have this thing like I should be going out more and I should be. So
Your new belief statement, T, is really beautiful. So I'm curious, is there an action you want to take around that new belief statement?
I think I trust my internal safety systems because they've gotten me this far and I was in some really life-threatening situations and they've gotten me this far.
You can
I
trust
mean, so they can be trusted. And I do know I love cafes and I will go to them. And I know who has the Queen Anons, which is like the best pastry on earth. And I know who has the kind of coffee I love. And I know who has the best avocado toast. And I will go back out there. It's just right now, it's very hard. And my brain isn't working correctly.
and you can trust yourself.
Yeah, I can trust myself. And there is more and more, especially as I work with the therapist that I have now, I can see that there is a really interesting internal wisdom and internal structures in here that have gotten me through a lot of systems. And I don't even understand the complexity and intelligence of these internal systems, but I can trust them. I don't need to understand them. I can trust them because they've gotten me through things that I don't understand how I got through. I really don't get it.
Well,
So
thank you
there's
so
an
much.
intelligence there that I can trust.
Thank you so much for sharing it. I'm curious overall to all of you, this question is to all of you. How did you like this exercise? You can apply this to so many things. Like anything that you are struggling with. If you find yourself bumping up against something and feeling like you don't have control, often that means there are these subconscious limiting beliefs that are taking place. That operating system is happening in the background that we don't even know. And so if we start catching ourselves that there's an operating system back there going, telling us something, taking a moment to really write down like what is being said, what thought is happening, challenging that thought, like what's the belief? Do I have to believe that? Is there something else I would like to believe instead? But then take it one step further, right? So that next step is, now that I've seen the challenging belief, I know that there's another thought happening in the background. Now what I want to do is I want to create some action steps that I can take that support the new belief that I would like to have instead. So that's kind of that framework that I think is really useful, and it's useful for little thoughts and big thoughts. Okay, so let's do takeaways. Just take a moment, jot down your takeaways, and I'm gonna call on you in a second. I want to read what Jade just dropped in that chat box. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so takeaways. Jade, do you mind going first with the takeaway?
Just do it.
Yeah, thank you. Leslie, takeaway.
I feel like I missed a lot of the calls in June, and I've missed seeing all of you. So hopefully I can be back on. I will be on vacation in a few weeks, so I'll miss that last week of July or first week of August. But just I feel like I'm out of the routine, and I'm glad to be back. So that's fine.
So glad you're back. Chandani, how about you?
Just think of like the exercise challenges, limiting beliefs, and then reframing that.
Heba.
I love the reminder of just changing my beliefs will change my actions. So yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Saskia, how about you?
Leslie, I feel very similar to you because I've been gone for 2 weeks in June. My big takeaway is to give myself transition time back and to just softly land. That's my big takeaway.
Thank you. Lauren.
It's okay to rest.
So okay to rest, yes. Sarah.
Figuring out my fucks to give.
Yes. T.
I can trust myself.
You can. Liz.
The power of the pause, taking this time has been really good, and also just letting go because I can't control everything else.
Yeah, we can't control anything, can we? That is my takeaway. Nothing is truly in our control. Nothing except our thoughts, our feelings, and how we show up in the world, right? Ladies, thank you. It's so nice to be here with you today. I will see you all again next week. And if you have any thoughts in the meantime that you want to share in our Telegram channel, I'd love to hear from you guys. All right. See you soon.